seeking a bit of advice. 8 years married, 34 years old. Happy couple, good bedroom life until around 2 years ago. Essentially, because we handle issues differently, we grew apart. She has a yell, buries the issue and runs away from it, and I want to talk about it, analyzes it. 3 months of counseling for me now. I have found out always been fairly reliant on my partners for approval and hence lost my confidence when things started to go downhill a bit. I didn't ever get a chance to deal with my problems in the relationship and just buried them. 4 months ago, I found out she was cheating on me with an ex-boyfriend who she still had abandonment issues left over from her last relationship. Long story, but anyway, where I am at is that I have found myself, realized that there always need to be me and then others, didn't ever realize this, and I'm kind of in a space of comfort where I can accept what has happened. We are living under the same roof, sleeping separately. She has stopped seeing the ex and says she doesn't feel like that now. She just says that she doesn't know who she is anymore and really doesn't talk to me much. She does not want to start counseling. I have pushed pretty hard, but it is counterproductive. She says she still loves me and wants the marriage to work. So, whilst I'm pretty comfortable with myself, I'm living with a depressed wife who obviously feels very guilty but has yet to be able to begin the healing process. I am becoming frustrated and kind of angry at her inability to deal with the issue, and being around her is just awkward now. She hardly talks to me. I still love her, but her silence is haunting me slowly. I have considered telling her to live somewhere else, and she had offered to do so, but I know she doesn't really want to go and she won't be back if she does go. She runs from every relationship she has ever had. My gut says she is not cheating, and I've learned trust my gut now. She offered to move out, and I think she would have if she was still cheating or even questioning our relationship. It's a different situation, kind of down the middle of that chart. She is showing remorse in everything she does for me. I think she is just unable to begin talking about it. I think what she is feeling is overwhelming guilt and an inability to even talk about it. She says she doesn't even want to get out of bed and wishes she could just fade. I agree though that not starting the process of reconciliation is starting to mean the same thing. It has only been a few weeks since we began this road in earnest. My only lingering doubt is that whilst she isn't cheating physically, she does still have feelings for the guy and is struggling to get over those. It may be they will never go, and at that point it is over. What is a reasonable time to give someone? She keeps asking for time and space. Her mum has always just buried any issue and never speaks about it again. My wife's behavior is a learned one. Her dad can't stand being around his wife for any extended period of time, and he works away as often as he can. The abandonment issues are that her dad always runs away and leaves them with a mum who pretends like everything is fine. She is practically an alcoholic now. So, whilst I see your point about it being my turn to call the shots now, I can see she is in a difficult place. It's a tough one. The fact I am here is kind of saying I'm done waiting, I guess. I know why she gave herself permission to cheat. It's because I became depressed and over-dependent on her for my well-being. Essentially, she was my mum. She has said she felt like she was my mum a few times. I've dealt with those feelings, made up with my mum and dad, got close with my mates, learned to be genuine around people, trying not to impress people. I've moved on. She hasn't. It might be time to put the foot down on counseling. It's that or move out. I have been trying to get her to go to couples counseling for quite a while, and she refuses. She has even stopped going to her personal counseling. We were supposed to figure out our own problems first and then deal with our marriage. I've upheld my end of the deal. I've dealt with my demons. I've joined a gym, lost 10 kilograms, look pretty good now, have been active with friends, found connection with my parents again, and she has done nothing. I just feel like she is pulling further away. We hardly talk now. I fear the only solution might be to shock her into doing something. Comment: did you expose the affair far and wide? Has she given you all her passwords? It takes two working hard to make a marriage work. She is not trying at all. She cheated with the OM and you get nothing. Did she get tested for STD? You will not nice her back into the marriage. She is not doing anything positive. How would she feel if you had an affair? File for divorce. See if she ever wakes up from the affair fog. She does not respect you. Respect yourself. Find someone that will respect you. OP responds: I confronted her last night, before I read most of these replies, and she essentially said she felt like she didn't have a future with me during the last year. She said that after the holiday she had recently, Bali yoga retreat, that she felt good about us again. Essentially, the argument became all about her hardship during the last year of our relationship and how I was the one who made her miserable. She said she told me all the time about things and I didn't listen. Jesus, all I heard was that it was all about her. I got mad and said that if she felt like she had no future with me that she should move out, now. I yelled it a few times and said I didn't care about her problems. She said we can't afford that, we can, and I said I don't care, move out. Kept carrying on about everything being on my conditions and my terms. I was confused by this but just said, well, you slept with someone and there is only one way I can move forward with this. Things calmed down and we spoke about our miscarriage 3 years ago and our inability to have kids since. I have low sperm count. She asked if I felt we had a future and I said yes, I do. She seemed shocked by that. I said that I still wanted to have a family and I have learned from my past about my dependence issues. I said I wanted to do IVF and she said she didn't want to go through that. She said, why didn't you agree to adopt? I said that I want my own blood and that is not unreasonable. Stalemate. Nothing from her. I could see her head ticking. It seems like her whole decision about me not being a suitable partner was because of the inability to have a family. Hurt. Then she turned the blame game back around and said she wasn't moving out and she can take me to court. I was like, what? At that point she shut the argument down and said she couldn't talk about it anymore, that she was mentally exhausted. After things calmed down again, she did come see me and offered to move out, and I said that if we are talking about things now then I would prefer to continue with that, and I don't think she has to. I wish at that time I had set some goals in place. Now, this morning, just before leaving to work, she says she is catching up with a work friend after work and will see me later. I read all of your messages now and it seems clear she has taken back the upper hand again and is playing me like a fiddle. Man, why am I such a pushover? Mad as hell. I am going to confront her again tonight, and if no suitable outcome, tell her it's over. Quick update, guys and gals. I just put the challenge down. I told her that if she wants to be with me, she will have to prove it and quickly, and that I expect to do counseling if that is what she wants. If she is not willing to do that, then I am sick of it being all about her, me being a pushover and a plan B, and it is over. She said nothing. I will see what that comes to later after work. When can you serve papers in the US? In Australia you need to be separated for a year before you can do that. Which is what makes it so hard right now. To cut and run is very difficult. I think can be good and bad. Good when there is a dialogue but difficult emotional issues to deal with. But bad when the person can't communicate in a constructive manner to try to resolve these issues and prevent them in future and has never been able to. It also supports the sanctity of marriage, which I believe in. This is a one-way marriage. I am beginning to accept that now. I'm not far away from ending it at the moment. The problem I am having here is that she just isn't the sort of person who can come back after moving out. Once she is gone forever. Quite different to the way a lot of other women respond in that situation. Just sent her a message. Her response, very shortened. I am hurting right now, but that doesn't mean I don't love you and want to work on us. I am only just discovering how I am feeling and have been numb for so long. Each time you threaten me with ultimatums, I just want to run away. It is going to take me time to figure out how I feel. I'm sorry, I know this is hurting you by me trying to get my crap together. I'm just trying to get by each day and I can't make my feelings make sense to me any faster. My response, also very shortened. You need to work at your own pace, but you also need to accept that inaction and silence is far more devastating than telling me things that are hard to hear. I love you and want to make this work, but I'm at breaking point and cannot continue like this. I need to move forward and I am prepared or the worst, but honestly, I would rather do it with you. I would agree on that info, but I left out a few bits that made my point a bit clearer. I have made it clear I am not waiting anymore. Her most recent response is better. We are having a night off. She is going to stay with a friend that I trust and talk to, and we are having dinner tomorrow night to catch up, to talk about us and plan some counseling. It's the biggest step yet. I'm not sure anybody here would walk away from that in the same situation. I can thank everybody here for giving me the balls to force the situation to progress. I know there is still more brute force required, and that will come. I went to my counselor yesterday and essentially spoke about what I want from my life and what I need to see happen to continue with my wife. I have concluded that I am not sure she is capable of the changes needed, and that a breakup is now more likely than not, and I have made a point of identifying the likely remissions that she will experience, and what I will and won't accept during those difficult times. I have a strict this is over list. Tonight marks a return home. I have read the 180 rules and agree with most of them. The one that really stood out to me was not to believe any of what she says and 50% of what she does. I am a strong believer in actions speaking louder than words, and that is what I will be looking out for. I will not be showing relief or gratitude for things she says tonight. They mean nothing at this point. I want happiness in my life, and I know I can be happy without her in my life, especially knowing that I do not want her if she is unable to step up and exceed what is required to mend this marriage. I feel prepared and strong. It is not within me to punish my spouse, so that won't be an issue. For me, it is more about gathering enough strength to remain detached. It will be a night of listening and observation. I will not be imposing any terms or conditions. I will not be pouring my heart out. I will be searching for evidence of actions or a commitment to making actions. I will be looking for evidence that she will stop contacting the EA. Time is up. If there is no commitment or action tonight, I will be asking her to move out, and I will sell the houses and file for divorce. I understand that even if she shows intent and action tonight, she may not have the ability to do so into the future. She may realize she is not in love with me after all, even though she says she is. I am prepared for that. The problem is she hasn't even been talking or doing anything about it. Regardless of what she feels, that is unfair on the other person. I am sensitive and do care about her and want to make it work, but this also makes me particularly upset when nothing is happening. I cannot work properly, I cannot sleep properly, I am miserable, and I can no longer live in the current situation. What I plan to do tonight is listen and observe to see if there is any significant change in her actions. For me, if there is no massive change in her approach to the situation, I don't want her in the house. She will have to move out. I don't care if I have to pay for her rent. I need this for my mental health and my self-confidence. You can't issue divorce papers in Australia until you are separated for a year. She has time if she wants. It's funny, counseling has been so great to me, but no counselor can or will tell you that you are a doormat and you need to get out. Whilst we have some pretty scarred and bitter people on this site, the majority give pretty well-informed advice. This site brings courage and strength and a strong dose of reality, which is exactly what I needed to get my head straight. All that said, I am still angry about myself about tonight. I think the less I say the better. All it does is provides fuel for her to flame me with. I'm scared and it's a big moment. I have to admit that. What the hell am I going to do if she won't move out? I'm going home shortly to see what she has to say. Wish me luck. I think this is the end unless I see something pretty amazing happen in the next few hours. So, she comes home and says she is going to move out because we are not getting on well together in the same house and she wants to start couples counseling next week. I immediately feel worried, scared that I will get hurt again and haven't said yes to counseling yet. I agreed she should move out. I feel physically ill, I am so gun-shy. So, I am going to sleep on it. And she was all nice and trying to hug and kiss me. Now apparently, I am everything to her. When is the purpose of the 180 finished? I would hate to feel that I have ruined a genuine opportunity to start work on us. I think in our case, her moving out is a good thing. We are having a very difficult time communicating, particularly her, and I think the time apart will help her assess her priorities. That said, I have reinforced my 180 plan and will continue with that until such time that I am convinced this is resolved. It will be entirely conditional on her fully understanding the emasculating method of arguing. She shuts me down, and many of her other relationship-damaging demeanors. This morning I agreed that if she arranged counseling meetings, I would go. For her, couples counseling is actually a big step and something I know she will find very hard to do. Communication is a major issue for her. Dealing with issues has always been a major problem for her and has been ingrained in her from a young age by parents who also cannot deal with any significant issue. Just bury it and run is how she has been brought up. It's a tough cycle to break and will test her to her limits. I also decided to move the relationship to a formal separation where we are effectively single. My motives were to make her understand that her small step does not mean anything until actual progress is being made. I also wanted to let any progress be on a fresh slate. Finally, I did not want to sit waiting under the burden of waiting within a relationship at the moment. This of course upset her, but I think it empowers me in the situation. She said last night that she was not communicating with the EA anymore and that it was destructive to her life as well as ours. To me this is simply confirmation that he blew her off. Advice given in this forum has prepared me for this moment and to see this simply as a shift back to plan B and that I need to tread very carefully. I tested this by asking whether she has removed all connections with the EA and his friends, phone numbers, SMS, Facebook, email. I was calm and made sure it was phrased in a way that it was her choice, but that it is important to me. This made her mad. She said that I can't dictate to her and tell her what to do. She stormed out of the house and went to work, and to me is confirmation of plan B not playing along with her game. To be honest, I kind of expected this reaction and it is why I asked the question. For me, it is confirmation that we are nowhere near a situation where she is fully devoted to me and in a place of total regret and remorse. At that time, I simply said that, so you understand that the current complete separation encompasses all aspects of that, including dating other people. She said, well, I can date other people too. I said sure, but it depends on what you want from your future and whether that is a message you want to send me. Now, I wouldn't go and date people in the current situation, no interest, but I thought it important to make her feel like I am very nearly completely gone and that she has a lot of work to do if she wants me back. She is moving outside and living with the mother of a good mate, bloke, of mine. For me, it's probably the best place she could have moved to. Isolated and away from influence, with an adult who will give her no sympathy, about as far away from the E as possible within the metro. Near friends who I trust and I know will give good advice, and close enough to me to enable meetings if that is needed. Finances are in order. We have agreed to continue on the status quo until our investment properties are sold off. My next step is to hit her with the finishing of the renovation of our family home and sale of that house too. I will save that nugget for a time when I see it is needed. Sorry for dribbling here, but I'm worried that this has just become a game for me now to prove a point. I guess if I stay happy and positive and just keep the 180 in play for now. On focusing on myself, I have 3 months of very constructive counseling, the finding of myself, for the first time, the release of emotional dependence on others, growth of self-confidence, 10 kilograms of weight loss, recognition of my desperate need for approval by my wife in the past, reconciliation with my parents, who I had abandonment issues with after their divorce, making sincere and lasting connections with the friends I care about, refocus on what I want from my future, scheduling a performance review at work, and finally, beating depression. I've been working bloody hard and I feel really good. My wife has done nothing but continue to damage herself and her marriage. It's time for her to step up. I'm here, I'm better than ever, and I'm ready to begin a genuine reconciliation if she wants it bad enough. She needs to be willing to work on the issues that put us down this path in the first place, or this is over. Having a boys' surfing trip all weekend. Surfing, windsurfing, fishing and camping, drinking a few around the fire. It will be my celebration of solidarity. I still know her laptop password, but she has changed her phone. She isn't living at home now, so I don't see the point. We have bigger problems. I just can't believe she did this. It's not fair. I'm not considering dating really. I would definitely feel worse and would be just as bad as my wife. My morals are strong. It's guessed I'm just angry, and I suppose those thoughts fall into the revenge column. Thanks. How do I move on without another lover, partner in my life? Perhaps that is the point I am missing. I don't need a lover, partner to move on. Sounds like more counseling to me. I can let go and have let go. She has moved out on my suggestion. But there is a practicality to moving on now. Moving on to me means being free and seeing other people, which most people here think is a bad idea if I ever want to be with her. It's a bad place to be. I have actually spoken with her today, before reading this, and said I feel like I'm waiting around for her and it is frustrating. I told her that I am putting up our houses for sale. I feel better knowing that it is at least progress for me whether we get back together or not. For me, I suppose that was the next step. Whether it sends a message or not is less important, but I guess it can't hurt. I think the situation has changed for her. She wants to fix the R but is really struggling personally with what she has done and doesn't really know how to even begin talking. It's pretty typical of what I saw in our relationship. Getting an apology was like getting blood from stone. It wasn't malicious, she just didn't know how. Nobody ever apologized in her family, never. I said, well, if you want this, I suggest you book counseling pronto. She has now booked counseling. Again, less important to me, but perhaps a forward step. She came over and said she has only just realized how bad the situation was. Said she loved me and has ruined our life together and that she is sorry she hurt me. I said I would go to counseling if she organized it, but that I still need to continue with my progress. I told her that I realized that progress for me is preparing for our divorce by selling our properties. I realized that moving on for me is not finding a new relationship as mentioned above, but moving forward for me. I suppose I should accept the above criticisms for being indecisive, but the current situation has me thinking about a lot of things, and sometimes it is difficult to have a composed plan, especially when I don't even know where it is that this is going. I also made it clear that we have a lot of trust and communication issues that need resolving before I would even consider allowing her to be moving back in. Taking some time to be alone, working on myself, spending quality time with family and mates, attending social events, and moving on with personal plans assuming the worst-case scenario are positive things. I do not consider burning bridges to be a positive or constructive thing to do. Skipping counseling that has been arranged by my wife to me is burning a bridge. If no progress is made during those sessions, then, yeah, I would agree that perhaps her heart isn't really in it, or the relationship may not be worth saving. Comment: I'm not telling you to abandon counseling sessions. I'm telling you to stop making your choices based on getting her to do what you want. Until you can reach that point, you are going to continue to go round in circles and not get her back. You sound just like 80% of the men who are so utterly desperate to keep their wife. Bravo to you for at least kicking her out. Even though you did it to manipulate her, that every step they take is still laden with all the trigger words that we all recognize. You're still scrambling to control the outcome. Until you can walk away, you won't heal, you won't have a chance to do what's needed to get her to see the light. OP responds: it's a depressing and upsetting situation to contemplate. The easy path seems like the soft one, but it is actually quicksand. I know that deep down. Tell me, what is the consensus about bonding during this time apart and moving on process? Is it damaging or counterproductive? She visited yesterday to walk the dog and pick up some mail while I was at a late work conference. She asked first and I said okay. She was there when I got home though. She desperately hugged me and cried uncontrollably for a good 10 minutes saying she was so sorry, she has ruined us. She kissed me when she left and I have to admit it was very, very tempting just to let it all happen after 4 months of no bonding. Is bonding a complete no-no? Can you kick them out, move on personally, walk away and yet allow bonding to happen in those moments? I've read conflicting things on this issue. Or am I just being desperate again? I'm so confused. I have been very busy and I'm having a great time, which of course will continue. I am busy most nights and all weekend every weekend. I just go back from 3 days away and have booked a 12-day holiday with mates. I joined the gym some time back and have been enjoying that, plus I play other sport once a week. I also have my regular sport on Sundays and love that. Lots of close mates there that have also been through a breakup or are currently experiencing issues. I am now close with a lot of them, which is very rewarding. I also visit my parents now. She has definitely noticed, and after enacting the 180 properly, there was a near instant response. She definitely does not want to be left behind. She now appears to be fairly desperate to get me back. She has said that she has noticed that I seem really happy and that I am moving on and doing lots of things I didn't do before. I am selling the houses so I can make plans for the future. My challenge now is to remain focused on myself and moving forward. I need to trust in the fact that if she wants to make it work, she will run after me. She can't take the dog to this house, and it is nearly impossible to find a share house that allows dogs where we live. I'm happy to look after him anyway. He is good company in this difficult time and makes me smile. We have a dog sitter just down the road if needed. Only 8 days have passed from when she was ignoring and cheating on me to the current situation where she is begging and chasing me. I don't think 8 days is enough, but it's nice to see that the 180 has brought about change. Yeah, I know, it's meant to be about me, not her. I'm a big believer in the expression don't believe anything they say and 50% of what they do. We haven't gone much into the difficult stuff yet, but she has at least booked MC to begin the process. Communication is an issue, so there is a long road ahead and she may not realize how hard it is going to be. Based on the comments that keep coming my way, it would appear that I am yet to fully release her from my heart, and that is something I need to do to be able to go through the process of letting her back in. I don't know how to do that yet, or what that even means, but I guess if I give it time and focus on myself, that is all I can do to find that place. I think I will need to say that I don't want to see her until we go to counseling as it is messing with my head. She just called and asked to stay over Saturday. I said you can come by and get what stuff you need and leave, but I don't want you to stay the night. Finally, I am thinking of my own emotions and well-being. I have decided, managed to bundle any emotional feelings I have about my wife with the past relationship that is done and dusted. Anytime I feel lonely or choked up, I just remember what she has done to me, and it is easy to associate those difficult feelings with the relationship that I no longer want. A relationship with my wife is no longer something I need, and I'm questioning if a new relationship with this woman something is I want. I have the choice of any woman in the world. Is this the one I would willingly start a relationship with? That I don't know. She asked to come by tonight after her personal counseling, and I said that I would feel more comfortable if she didn't, and that I would prefer to meet her at the counseling appointment on Monday. A relationship is indeed a want and not a need. It is not something we need to survive. It is not essential to be happy. It is simply a desire. So, she came around yesterday and we spoke about what was going on. I was cool and rational and explained it could go either way and that I am approaching the situation that way so I can consider my future without emotional sway. Just before she left, she ran to me and we sort of ended up kissing very passionately, and when it is all about to get out of control, she says we shouldn't until we have a better relationship. She leaves and I feel like a complete W. I realize that her not wasn't an accident. Have I been played? Is it possible that she is just looking for any way to get my attention? As the balance of power has shifted, I'm ashamed of myself. We start our first couples counseling session tonight and I feel like I'm on the back foot. Sigh, perhaps I'm overthinking it. She might think she has the balance of power now, but I think she will get a rude shock once we start getting into the difficult stuff at our first counseling session tonight. The fact she had to resort to showing a bit of tail proves she hasn't got the guts to deal with the difficult issues. This is going to be much more difficult for her than she expects. She even said she didn't want to sell the house yesterday. I stood there astounded at how far she is from realizing just how irrelevant that is at the moment. Truly amazing how blind she is to the pain she has caused. She swears the affair has been over for a month and there has been no contact, so I would have to give it the benefit of the doubt at the very moment. I intend to use the MC as an avenue to talk about the affair and why things like passwords, SMS chains have not been handed over. If nothing comes of that, then you are probably right. We went to the MC. A lot has happened and I feel like I can no longer do the process justice with a few words on a forum. In any case, we have started the process and a lot of the right things are being done, shown and spoke. More productive was the long talk after MC. I was able to keep the conversation on topic about the IA and everything related to it. She responded and was willing to stay on the topic to discuss very specific aspects of the IA. The first discussion was long and productive, but as I would expect on the first round, some things may have been glossed over. I made it crystal clear today that I felt there were things that she glossed over and that she will have to dig a lot deeper than that if we are to have another discussion. I have asked her not to contact me until the next MC session. I will continue being happy living by myself and thinking about what I want for my future until then. I think we both want the same thing, but I am still realistic about the current situation and are prepared for any outcome. I have made it clear that I'm not yet sure if I can ever trust her, or whether I feel she will ever genuinely care about me, or the relationship, enough to prevent something like this happening again. I have realized that the deeply personal aspects of reconciliation are very hard, if not impossible, to put into words. Sometimes the most meaningful parts of a reconciliation are not words at all. So, I am moving forward to attempt a reconciliation with my wife. My process will be at my pace, with my own goals, and to meet my needs, wants. I thought it was an emotional affair. Knowing it is an exit affair, I may have used it in the wrong context a few times, but essentially it means the same thing to me now. After bonding, I'm so pleased that I still feel completely independent, have a clear set of goals, and my bullcrap radar has been unaffected. If anything, the fact we still have strong feelings for each other makes me even more wary of the truth as the possibility of reconciliation becomes a reality. Whilst the proof is in the pudding, I have seen and heard enough to at least give our a go, having been told I am planning at some point. If we choose to trust the other person, all we can do is roll the dice, but be prepared to lose. I think there are much better ways of gaining trust. Sitting down together and going through her entire SMS history to the OM to verify her story is one I am considering. Obviously, you don't tell them you are going to ask until you are sitting down together. It also allows some dialogue during that session. Any other suggestions that are less degrading than an ankle bracelet? My comment: they don't always even mean to take it underground. They may be really sincere with you, even give you a great time, and then run into OM and then think, well, just this once, and boom, it's on again. Only this time, they'll hide it better. Part 2 will come out in a few hours. This is a marriage lesson that happened within a 4-year time frame. See you in P2.